I used to go in my backyard and burn the phone book because it would all like go
The
like
Venn
that.
diagram where their hobbies intersect is burning phone books.
You know what? I would have never
just
guessed
found it.
that we would have this much in common.
The podcast you're about to listen to may contain objectionable language, adult and/or immature content, mentions of Jesus Christ, and unironic readings of holy Christian scriptures. If any of this is likely to offend you in a manner that you find less than enjoyable, maybe don't listen.
Hi, I'm Pastor Bob Schaefer.
And I'm Pastor Eric Damon. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to CPTV, which does not make us your place for competitively priced toilet brushes.
I don't even know what a competitive price for a toilet brush would be.
A quarter.
A quarter. I'd pay a quarter for a good toilet brush today.
That's not competitive. That's winning by a lot, I think. But I don't know. Maybe it would be a better show.
It surely would be, but unfortunately you are stuck with Comedians with Pastors Talking Bible, which is the show that it sounds like every single week. Eric and I bring together a couple of comedians to sit down in the room with us to talk about a reading from the Bible.
And do we just grab any random reading from the Bible?
We do not. We are so deliberate, so precise. You would just be proud of us. We use the Revised Common Lectionary to choose our readings so that we are in sync with people all around the world who need to preach on these things.
Or more importantly, we're using the comedians to do our job for us to talk about the readings that lectionary preachers will preach the next week.
Shh. Do not give that away.
I think I've said it on other episodes.
Damn it, now I've got to edit, Eric.
Darn it.
No, damn it.
Damn
This is a proper damn it.
We're going to whisper for the rest of the show.
ASMR.
Excellent.
We have Cassi with us again this week. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. When you do ASMR, it's really important that you make a lot of mouth sounds. That'll get you a lot of listeners.
And
I don't know if it's the ones you're looking for, though.
sometimes you want to run your finger on the mic.
Yeah.
We'll take all the listeners for whatever reason. How is Lou doing?
I have to confess something.
What's that?
I don't like ASMR. It makes me feel unsettled.
At what point did ASMR enter the general awareness of the podcast? Like, it seemed like that was a fringe thing.
Yeah, I think it was like a YouTube. People would watch it on YouTube first, like mukbang,
Yes.
and then then they would listen to shorter versions on like shorter.
I would listen
short
to
content
them.
sites.
I'm not even going to.
So you're one of the listeners that you said we'd get the wrong kind of listeners.
I don't like. Shut up.
I understand why people don't like it, but like I like to watch people eating like exotic foods that I can't eat, and like it just makes you, I don't know, it just makes you feel like
I guess
hungry.
I'd watch someone like slurping a fruit.
Yeah.
Cause like that's nice for them. Like
I
I'm
like
just,
a crunch.
I'm just happy for them. It's not really doing anything for me, but I'd be like, cool, that looks like a good fruit. But I don't like that. I feel like uneasy the whole time, like nails on a chalkboard. It's like
That's one.
I don't like it.
So it's like reverse misophonia. Like
Yeah.
you hear slurping and you're like, this is my bag.
It's supposed to like make you like tingle or something. I don't really get that. Like some people say that it like creates like a sensation in their body. I don't get that, but I do like, it's just like, I don't know, it's nice.
I have like had that
Satisfying.
happen one really memorable time. And it wasn't like watching an ASMR video. This was like actually just in real life, in talking with somebody who their way of talking just kind of apparently triggered that.
Oh,
And yeah, I mean,
how did they talk?
I mean, I don't even remember that it was like anything particularly out of the ordinary. It was just, there was something in that moment that I was like, oh, wow.
Were not our hearts burning the entire time he was with us?
It was, yeah, it was, it's like one of those weird things where you kind of chase that dragon. Then it's like, so what was it that made that happen?
Yeah, you're just calling them every day.
Nope, that was not. I never really did manage to kind of follow.
Do you know
that
any
up, so.
limericks that you could tell me? Can you read this for me?
I like the idea of the CPTB done only in limerick.
It's way too much work. The whole idea of this show is to get out of
I
work.
just looked at Eric and I was like, there's no way.
That's a lot of effort. I get pastor with a man from Nantucket and I'm done.
We see him at Mike's where he's not going to do that.
There's no limerick happening.
I mean, like, actually, though, that is like, there is a legit kind of comedy that making up lyrics like that and just freestyling is like part of it. I mean, when I watch Whose Line Is It Anyway? And they are just completely making up lyrics on the fly, and some of them actually singing them. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, how does your brain even do that in real time? That is so impressive. And
You know what I like to do?
what do you like to do?
Can I swear?
Yes, you may.
I like to sing songs, and any song, give me a song, and then replace every couple words with either piss or ass.
Oh,
It
that's
has
fun.
to be those ones. And it is really just a good time.
Is there like a protocol for how you choose which words to replace?
You just feel it.
I like to replace words with crackhead.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
Like Jesus loves a little crack.
He does.
All the crackheads of the ass.
Yes.
That might be a good song to sing when you experience like random rage, like in traffic or something. You're like, Jesus. That little idiot.
It's a good event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
Try it
therapeutic.
out.
I'm going to bring that into my life now. Thank you for that, Eric.
You're very welcome.
Cassie, thank you for giving me the context there. I might try to
Let me
incorporate
know.
piss and ass into my lyrical stylings.
Absolutely. Let me know how it goes.
Dude,
Very poorly, without a doubt. I can tell you that already.
I may have brought it up on the show at some point. If not, there was a time I tend to gain and lose weight frequently throughout life, and it was one of the times where I was on the heavier end of me, and I was out on a run. It was a hot day. I had no shirt on, and so I'm out of shape and kind of getting delirious from the heat anyway, and I'm watching my gut bounce in my shadow. And I start singing, instead of "My Lord, What a Morning," I start singing, "My Lord, I'm a fat ass." And in the middle of this chorus, a member of the church goes, "Hi, Eric." I was running past his house and he was behind a tree and I didn't see him, and I am still mortified that
Wait.
this happened in life.
I have one like this. Okay, my hype up song is X Gon' Give It To Ya.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I would drive across, like I had to drive so far to rehearsal, and I was driving to rehearsal, I was driving across the bridge, and I'm just like blasting it with the windows down, getting myself energized after work to then go into rehearsal. And so I'm pulling into rehearsal, and there's a big theater, but then across is a church space that we're rehearsing in. We're just happening to be in there. But I didn't know at this point that there was a child in this show. There's usually not. There's usually just adults. And so I'm pulling into rehearsal. It was not the clean version. And my director sees me pulling in and hears the song and is like laughing at me. I pull in, and at the exact point I'm parking, and it's the part where it says like, "Hey, yo, where my buddies at?"
But
And
not buddies.
The little girl and her grandmother walked by my car. Whoops.
That'd be
And then the director saw it all and was laughing his butt off.
I I mean,
You're like, I'm going to be somebody that you look up to. You don't know this, but
I mean, I don't do dirty comedy. I mean, I'm not a Christian clean comic, but I don't do dirty. But guaranteed, if I've said something that I wouldn't want to say in front of a child, that is when you notice the child that walked through the room.
100%. 100%.
Son of a bitch.
I wish I could pull this up quickly enough for you. I'll maybe drop it into the YouTube presentation of this. But one of the best moments from our CPTB comedy showcase this last summer that we are still going to get out there on YouTube for you guys to watch. Our headliner, Georgia Warder, was wrapping up her set, and she was talking about her waxing and her Brazilian, going through and in all of the comedic details that you could like. And she got to a particular point that I will, not actually ruin her set for you. But at that moment, because we are in the Monroeville Public Library, in the gallery space where the main entrance to the library is right there off to stage left, a family exited just as she was telling the story, and she paused and said, "Oh my God, was that a child?" I'm so sorry.
Oh.
And she handled it like such a pro. She brought it right back into her material. But it was just the best. The kind of thing that just happens in a library setting, and I loved it.
Kids are resilient, they bounce back.
I mean,
they're here to learn.
We did bring up generational trauma last episode. Kids are resilient in a forming coping mechanisms kind of way.
It was brilliant.
But
let me see. This might actually be it here. Hang on.
Oh, you're gonna.
Yeah, you keep talking for a second here.
All right.
Well,
I was gonna be throwing it to you, but go ahead.
I think the things they don't understand just kind of roll off, because I was watching Friends when I was like not age appropriate to be watching it. And so I didn't know what things meant. So like they would say things like casual sex, like terms like that. And I understood casual to mean like you're wearing jeans. So I just thought it was like rolling around with clothes on or something. I didn't understand, And then my parent, I started, a commercial came on. I started talking about Ross and Rachel and Joey. And my parents were like, "Oh my God, are you a closet Friends watcher?" Like,
Friends is great.
yeah. But it was not my age appropriate show, but
Yeah,
I love it.
I have the bit that I do about our older daughter. We just didn't age appropriate anything. Food, she ate mussels while we went out at like 1. TV, we were just, that's what we're watching. You're a toddler. And it's her favorite show as like a 14-month-old was Chappelle's show.
That's amazing.
And I mean, the what? Okay. She loved that.
That's amazing.
And in my bit, I have that I went to the hospital with her, but it was Sandra brought her to the hospital, and they were in the elevator with a young black man, and our little toddler says, "He looks like Chappelle." And she's just like, "I didn't even know what to do." We're just
She's like, she's so racist. I'm sorry.
She's so into Chappelle. You have no idea. She hopes everyone is him.
but there's just, I mean, in Cranberry Township, there's not a whole lot of
diversity.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, you have white people and you have rich Indians. There's not a whole lot of black people in that area.
Yeah.
And so that was my child's, other than Dave Chappelle on TV.
Well, she was
first
cultured.
interaction with a black person. She's like,
aced it.
"It's Chappelle. I love him."
I'm afraid after, seriously overpromising, I'm going to underdeliver here. So if I can find this, I'll maybe put it up here for you guys. But in the meanwhile, we probably should move on.
All right.
That's like how life works, isn't it? Don't you hate that when you the exact thing that you want to pull up on your phone and you can never find it?
You have to put a pin in it.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes putting a pin in me is exactly the right answer.
And we've talked about scarring children. We have not talked about how you and I approach Holy Scriptures, which is at some point in time we're actually going to get to talk about.
Yes. So Eric and I are pastors in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. We confess that the Bible is the inspired word of God, the authoritative source and norm of our proclamation and our faith. It's basically the ruler by which we measure life, and it is the Word of God that points us to Jesus, who is the living Word. So the Bible is something that we treat with respect. We recognize that it contains multitudes. It's a whole library in all different kinds of genres. And so even though we say that the Bible is true, we recognize the truth comes in a lot of different forms. And you have to pay attention to the forms in order to understand the truth that they are conveying.
And I realized last episode that we were recording that every episode we announce how we approach Scripture, and then I invite my guests to tell me about their experiences with church history, or with your history in relation to the church, and never ask you what are your thoughts on Scripture itself. What is the Bible to you? With any range of answers, I mean, whatever's a true answer. What do you think the Bible is?
I feel like you'll have a good answer.
I don't know if it'll be a good answer for others, but it's my answer for myself. I mean, obviously, we weren't there. Went through a bunch of iterations for a bunch of different reasons under a bunch of different humans who are fallible and have their own reasons of doing things. That said, I do think it is a good pathway to begin to know God's heart and begin to know a way of living that will uplift your spirit. And I think a lot of people find guidance in it, and I do sometimes. And yeah, that's how I approach it.
I approach it as it's stories. Like, you can take but this is how I approach everything, like honest, like any type of religion. Take what you like or interpret it how you want to, and if it resonates, then I will take some of that with me, and if it doesn't, then I won't. But I also, just growing up being Catholic, and then also I like went to different churches with like different like friends' families and stuff growing up, and I used to go to this like youth group that I think they were Baptist, and I loved to go because they would always ask me to read, and like I could read, and I guess I don't know. I was just like, oh my God, like they think I'm smart, so I'll like read like.
Let me show off my skills.
Yeah, but like I would always like want to make jokes and stuff too, and like so sometimes I approach it like Mad Libs.
But I think the story element, I mean, especially for those who don't, I mean, as Bob says in our introduction, while we don't take it as inerrant and literal, we do still take it as divinely inspired. For non-believers, I think there is the story element is an important part of it. That you may not encounter something divine in there. I mean, obviously, our profession of faith says that you did encounter something divine, but you can listen to a fairy tale and find something of value in it that's not divine. We share our human experience through narrative, and the Bible is not all narrative, but we also share our human experience through poetry. We also share our human experience through records of information. All of these things are in the Bible, but I personally, records of information and poetry don't do it for me the way that the narrative story does. I can latch my teeth onto a story of human experience.
Me too. A beginning, middle, and end.
Yep. Mm-hmm. In whatever order you want to put them. You can tell me a Memento style story that starts with the end and ends with the beginning.
That's
it just
fun.
needs
You put
to
it
have
together.
them all.
Yeah.
And what I heard you saying, Lou, is that you may not approach it with the same level of divinity that we do. The biblical God is still in your thought of who God is, an explanation of that there is a God somewhere in there. Am I hearing you right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people tend to define God in their own image, and I don't do that. So I don't purport to know what God is and all of this. I think surrender is like a huge thing in faith. And so I kind of approach things that way.
So I have what I thought you mean, or what I think you mean when you say surrender is a huge thing in faith, but
It's probably
put
similar.
it into your
it's
words.
probably
What does it
similar to-
mean?
I just I'm a God person, I would say. But I approach the Bible knowing that human beings are fallible. So I try to glean discernment where I can.
And we are not going to. We're going to read the processional gospel, because the week that we're discussing this week is Palm Sunday, Passion Sunday, where you read the entire Passion story, which, as we brought up, narrative,
Which is not nearly as risque as it sounds.
we we can discuss what we know of the Passion story, but we're not going to have Bob read just for the next 45 minutes.
This is like
us.
a Sunday where often pastors actually aren't preaching because the gospel is so long that, just in my experience, I like to just let the gospel speak. You know, you talked about the narrative, the story. Sometimes it's good just to let people have the story wash over them. So that's kind of where I land on this. But we have this double set of readings because the service begins with the procession with palms at the very opening of the service, and there is a gospel reading there in addition to the gospel reading that comes later in the service that is the Passion story. Yeah. So it's actually the palm reading that we're going to be looking at today, so that you don't have to listen to my voice for like ever.
I mean, you go back to ASMR, you could give us a lot of listeners, but that's not the route we're trying to go.
I think the market that is willing to listen to me whisper scripture in your ear is possibly existent, but also bent in a way that we don't want to have. I mean, pursued by the yeah.
It's not what we're looking for, but I think it's out there.
Everything's out there.
That is the sad truth of the internet. Like
Rule 34. 34?
I
54, 84.
I used to joke about like making up imaginary hate groups to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot name one that is bizarre enough now for there not to be a real hate group out there in the world. That, I mean, no matter, you're like, I hate left-handed people. There is a group on midgets. There's a group that hates little people. You cannot. I hate people that whatever you name. There is a real group of people out there that those are the ones. They're the problem. The internet.
Mm-hmm.
The downfall of man.
So true.
Hey, I managed
That's
to
a
find
good
this.
place to end right there.
Do you want to hear about Georgia's story before you hear the scripture?
Sure.
You've been teasing us with this story.
I
You might
have
as well
been.
give it to us.
All right. So this is, again, a shout out. This is Georgia Warder back in September of 2025 at the CPTB showcase. And yeah, you'll appreciate this.
Went into this experience thinking I knew what a Brazilian was. I did not know about the butt strip. That is a surprise, right? You're laying there, you're shaking like a baby giraffe, you're sweating, and then they go knees to chest. We're not done. And here's the thing. They give you all this information when you go in. Was that a child? I'm so sorry. I just did more damage to the gays than any drag queen brunch ever has.
Yeah, so we'll leave it there. But having teased that now, I felt like I had to.
That's great.
Yeah.
Everybody's like,
No.
Bob, was that really worth all of this build-up for?
No, it's a plug for Georgia.
Yeah.
Shout out Georgia.
Shout out to
funny.
Georgia Warder.
For handling it like a pro.
Yeah. Shout out to that kid.
Brazilian wax and drag queen brunch. Let's get into our palm processional now.
All right, so this is the procession on Sunday, March 29th, which is the Sunday of the Passion and also Palm Sunday. And we are reading from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 21. And I'm not going to make you guys do the liturgical bits unless you really feel motivated to do the liturgical bits.
I got it.
You got it? All
Yeah.
right. So it starts with the pastor saying, "Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord."
Hosanna in the highest. That's what
Oh.
you would do if you were Catholic, you guys.
Excellent.
That's winning.
Thanks for
When-
handling that.
When
I got
When they had come near Jerusalem and had reached Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, just say this, 'The Lord needs them,' and he will send them immediately." This took place to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet. "Tell the daughter of Zion, look, your king is coming to you, humble and mounted on a donkey and on a colt, the foal of a donkey." The disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and put their cloaks on them, and he sat on them. A very large crowd spread their cloaks on the road, and others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. The crowds that went ahead of him and that followed were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest heaven!" When he entered Jerusalem, the whole city was in turmoil, asking, "Who is this?" The crowds were saying, "This is the prophet Jesus from Nazareth in Galilee."
I just like to picture Jesus on both the donkey and the colt at the same time. And it says he sat on them, so you can't get that he's
was
standing.
mounted.
He's not standing on top of them
Yeah.
like one of those horse or circus people. He is sitting on a donkey and a colt, which goes against the hot Jesus on the cross. He's a chubby guy.
Yeah, he had
To be able to fit one butt cheek.
he had a very wide
each.
stance.
That's,
Maybe they just, went 10 feet down the road and then he switched and then they went another 10 feet. He was like really pissing the disciples off by
What if
that's
one
it
was
says
on
he
top
sat-
of the other? What if they were all stacked?
Yes.
He put the donkey
That's what
on
I
the colt
picture.
with him on the donkey.
That's what I picture.
and no wonder it drew a crowd.
That's what I think.
Honestly, what a parade.
It's like a Cirque du Soleil kind of an
Yeah.
act.
Yeah.
That is
All right, that's my new mental image of what's going on in this reading. I like it.
Jesus on a donkey on a colt.
It's kind of like a turbakin duckin.
If you're an artist, shoot us back a rendering.
That's going to go on the bulletin cover next year. And I apologize to the Altar Guild in advance.
Shout out to Mount Oliver.
Olivet.
Olivet.
Oliver, yeah, it's all of it. and then some.
I didn't know Jesus was in Mount Oliver.
Oh,
He's
wait.
in all of it.
All right, so this is me. I'm sorry, just showing my
You-
complete
you
utter
missed the
lack
Pittsburgh
of.
reference.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed of myself.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'm a letdown in so many ways.
Oh no.
Minnesota boy over here.
No,
I
Bob, no.
No, what is Mount Oliver named after?
I don't know. I never thought about it until right now. Yeah, Ooh Papa.
every year they put it on in the outdoor theater.
Please, sir. Can I have some more?
The cat.
Strangely though, like Mount Olivet is like one of those church names, at least in Lutheran church circles, that there are more than a few of them, a lot more than you would think. Like one of the big churches back in the Twin Cities is Mount Olivet Lutheran Church. So
Yeah. Mount Oliver is not a mispronunciation of Olivet, which I would have put Pittsburgh to do. We'd love to just
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we were
Go to
saying. So that's what
Versailles.
it is.
but no, it's Oliver Ormsby,
Oh. All right. Shout out to
which
him.
we all know who he is. So
Yeah.
we don't need to discuss that any further.
and that's all that needs to be said about that.
But so this gospel we begin Palm Sunday with the celebration, the Hosanna in the highest. This is a kind of protest march that's happening into Jerusalem. And since we switched to have Palm Sunday be Palm Passion Sunday, we almost immediately after this reading, the tone of Sunday switches from this into Jesus being betrayed and crucified. And liturgically, you have to kind of walk that emotion through. But I guess the question that raises for me is, you start with this celebratory protest going into Jerusalem, and within a few days you're going to hear them, the crowd, calling for Jesus to be crucified. Do you think it's the same people?
Yes.
Or you think so? Both of you immediately said
Because we
yes.
live in the United States, Eric.
This is my area of expertise because this is basically the beginning of Jesus Christ Superstar. We know it's the same people.
But they've only got a cast
They
of like
turned
18.
on him. Yeah, exactly. It
Well-
literally is the same people.
It's literally, look at the credits.
Right. We can just look
We
right
know it's
there and
them.
know.
That's how you know.
The gospel according to Tim Rice. So I've had the experience recently of marching in protests, and I wish I hadn't, but I have. And I think about how, on the one hand, what seems very large when you are on the ground and, 500 people singing and marching and carrying songs. And then you look at it in the context of the city, and like nobody sees it and nobody notices because it is such a small little thing that happened. And if it weren't for news cameras there covering it, nobody would even know that we were there. And I picture the same thing happening with Jesus and his followers, that, how big was this parade even? Did they have 500 people? Is this dozens of people? And even if it were 500 people, Jerusalem is a good sized city. Most of Jerusalem has no idea that this thing has even happened.
There's a small enough group that Pilate is not aware of what's going on at this point.
And
only the
temple
Sanhedrin,
authorities.
Yeah, there we go. We'll call them temple authorities. They get to see it and be offended, but the idea that this drew the attention of Rome is ridiculous. This is just a small little thing happening.
That's why I find it so ridiculous when people are so tied to Jesus wants you to obey the law, even if the law is harmful.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
I don't think I need to. People know about World War II. People know about this. I think it is the same people because it's the collective consciousness.
Yeah.
That's the story part that you've talked about.
The power
That's
of mob
how it's
mentality.
relevant always. Yeah.
So for you, a valuable part of the narrative is that the collective zeitgeist of the time turned on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
There, that you're able to go from celebration and hope to despair and violence.
Well, just as they did with the blind man. I'm sure, his family was happy he was cured, and that quickly turned into, this is a huge problem for us, make it go away, which is just what the crowd did with Jesus.
Right. And
it was a great blessing until it wasn't, right?
Yeah. And that is a completely valid take. The who are the crowds that is described in this gospel is just not a question that's answered. We know it's the crowds. And so the narrative device of the crowd turning like that, and just the human nature of being fickle is a valid look at it. I tend to see a narrative device that says that they are two different groups, and Jesus didn't appease either. To me, this group disappears once they realize he was not willing to march in and take things over. This is the group that wanted action. This is I'm tired of you being ineffective and slow. And they were, when he came in, they were celebrating that he's finally going to do something. And they disappear once they see that he's actually just going to let them kill him. And it's a different group that wants to kill him. It's the group that wants less action, the group that thinks everything he's doing is just going to provoke Rome, and we need to be less activist-oriented. And it's, to me, a very important part of Jesus is the line he walks doesn't join forces with either of those. Doesn't join forces with the people who want to appease Rome and say, yeah, sure, they're baddies, but it's not too bad. And he doesn't join forces with the people who just want to burn the whole thing down. Who cares how many people it hurts? And so that's my own personal take on it. But there's definitely a real valid take that you have, that it's a human nature part also, that we were so excited.
Yeah, both
and then
can be
it didn't
true.
do it.
Yeah. I think both are true.
Yeah.
There might very well have been people in both of these crowds. Maybe not like the entire crowd.
Totally.
Yeah, like Simon would be in the camp that they, according to Jesus Christ Superstar, that he thought Jesus was going to change stuff and he's going to be this big political figure.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's the one that also sticks with him at the end, right?
Two different Simons. You have Simon the Zealot and Simon
oh my
Peter.
God.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yep. You're gonna have to look at the credits. Trust me on this one.
Why would they name two people Simon in this
Well,
whole story
to
that's
be-
so close together?
To be fair, Jesus renames one of the Simons.
Maybe
That's
he
where
couldn't deal
Peter
with
comes
it
from.
either.
Oh my God.
It's like, you are not Simon. You are Peter.
You're blowing my mind right now.
You're just gonna have to
I
go
thought
and
was
watch
the
it
same-
again.
Well, they don't show that part in the, really.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
They got to add another song. Get Andrew Lloyd Webber
there I
on the phone.
mentioned the Bible app on your phone.
And I mean, actually, when you think about this sociologically, right, that there were probably people here who showed up because, hey, it's a parade. This is kind of fun. There are strangely stacked animals walking down the street. What's going on here? All right, I want to be a part of this. And then also at the same time, ooh, a crucifixion. Let's go. Because that was also something
Entertainment.
that could be entertainment. I mean, there were probably people who might not have caught any of the significance of either of these events and just showed up and witnessed because they were something that was happening in town.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So hang on here. We're just going to pause things here.
Pausey. I want a sandwich so badly. Is there a good place to get a sandwich around here?
What kind of sandwiches do you like? We've got a Primanti's not too far down the road. There used to be a Subway that's closed. There is Jersey Mike's, is that right? Over by past the McDonald's down that way. What else do we have sandwich wise?
I'm hungry too.
I want to like sit down and eat a sandwich and like have a Coke and some onion rings. This sounds like a Chili's situation. You know what I mean?
I need a Chili's.
It's just like I need the fuel and I need to sit.
Yeah.
I go to Chili's and I like intend to eat other things, and then I always cheap out, and they're 3 for me. Is what I always end up with.
What do you pick?
I just get it used to be the old timer was the cheapest one, and now it was like their basic cheeseburger, and now they've got the big QP, which is like another basic cheeseburger, and so I will just have that and the chips, and it's like more than enough.
Yeah.
I would be happy to eat any of the other things, but they're so much more expensive, and I'm like, I don't want to pay for that.
I know.
Right.
And then like they're not always great, and you're paying all this money
Mhm.
anymore. All these places, it's too expensive.
I just kept rolling this time.
All right.
And I
That'll only make it easier for you. It doesn't affect me at all.
the
But
Talking
editing
about
will be
chilies.
So much better.
Yeah, we were talking about sandwiches.
All right. Do you want me to lead us back in with our traditional harp sound?
sure.
Because, if you have a harp, you should use the harp. All right, here we go.
I did it.
The lovely magic of editing, and we are back here. So, what were we talking about? We were talking about parades and crucifixions and entertainment and stuff like that. And
Everything I know is a lie.
everything Cassie knows is a lie. I'm sorry that music theater has lied to you.
It's probably my fault. It's the ADHD. I probably just missed something.
Yeah. Evita is also not like perfectly factual in every way.
Yeah.
But this is like how we read the Bible, right? We look for the factual truth and the metaphorical truth, and
I mean,
I'm looking
Jesus
at Eric
Christ,
like he's going to help me out on this one.
I mean, you could do worse than Jesus Christ Superstar if you're gonna have a non-biblical take
A
on the
reference
Bible.
point, yeah.
I mean,
This is how I passed all of
I mean, you could
everything
watch
I knew in
the,
CCD.
You could watch the Kirk Cameron versions of the Left Behind novels and base your theology on that, which would be way worse.
Scary.
We would really rather you not. Kirk, we love you. You've got a standing invitation to come. Maybe an invocation.
He's
Can
got
we,
a
can we like
standing
invoke
invocation.
Kirk Cameron?
I think you can. I think he can be invoked.
I think if you say
He can
Kirk
be
Cameron
provoked for
3
sure.
times,
we have some sort of standing or sitting something for you to come on the pod anytime you want, Kirk. We love you.
Do you think that the Camerons would like the pod?
I don't know enough about Candace to know how she would feel about it. I feel like Kirk would be troubled by us,
Yeah.
but I like to think that he would sit on the couch and have a good conversation with us. He's a comedian.
he is.
Do we own him as a comedian?
I never
Right.
thought he was a comedian.
Yeah,
Sitcom actor, not the same thing.
he was a.
He's comedic.
Comedy adjacent.
I still just stand that for all of the girls that had Jason Bateman instead of Kirk Cameron on their bulletin board as a kid, they picked the winner. It was a long game, but they are redeemed now.
So what do you guys think about Jesus making his disciples into livestock thieves, rustlers? You cool with that?
Good Christian fun.
In town, there's going to be a Mustang and a Bronco. And if you take them, just say the Lord needs it.
So I know just enough about cars to know that you were talking about automobiles, but the whole Mustang part actually is that's like important here. That what Jesus sends them to steal is not a Mustang of a horse. He says, "Look for a colt and a donkey." And that is like really important. That a king coming on a horse is a king who is conquering, a king who is coming in power and is coming against your city as a conqueror. And the picture we have here is of a king coming on a donkey, coming on a colt. This is a king who is coming in peace and is not coming as a military conquest.
With humility.
With humility. Mm-hmm.
And didn't Mary ride a donkey to the...
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think this is like the whole point of Jesus having the human experience. It's represented here too.
Mhm.
Of the point of why he was here.
I just think both Cassie and Lou have demonstrated so much more restraint than some of our other guests for the amount of times Bob said coming in that last.
I did that last time I was here, and I couldn't stop laughing, so I need to restrain myself.
In the archive, look for "Verily we cometh unglued," and
That would be
that was
tough
a good
to
one.
sit through, yeah.
That was
That is a classic episode. You were a great part of that, Cassie. I was thinking, at no point have either of you ever said that Jesus needed to get off his ass at the end of this and do something.
He did a
It
lot.
took the pastor to say that.
I feel like he did a lot, you know. So I don't need to say this to him.
He was mounted on that ass.
Mounted
it is.
Mounted on
That
that
ass.
ass. That one that Jesus told them to go get.
Yeah.
Go get that ass. Bring it back. Hey, bring me
Hey,
some
back that ass up.
Hey.
It needed to happen.
If you want me to go there, I will. I was really trying to be good this time.
You do not need to be polite for our sake.
Okay.
So there actually is, with regards to the whole livestock rustling business here, there is, I think this is a kind of a translational matter, that when you look at verse 3, he says to them, if anyone says anything to you, just say this. And then we've got, in quotes, the Lord needs them. And that's the part that's in quotes. And then Jesus continues, and he will send them immediately, which the way this is with the quotes placed makes it sound like Jesus says, tell this person the Lord needs them, and then that person will send them immediately. I've also seen that the quotes end up going all the way to the end of that sentence. Say this, the Lord needs them and he will send them immediately. So it makes it sound like Jesus is going to, he needs the animals, but then he will send them back immediately. And that's like nowhere near as interesting to everybody else as it was to me. But
borrowing them.
That's like one of those things where as you're translating, you have to decide where is the quote that Jesus is telling them to say ending, and where does he continue with his line of thought.
So it's like in an action movie when the cop steals the car from the person. This is at least he says, I'll bring it back afterwards before he drives off to chase the bad guy.
Does it actually work like that? I mean, can law enforcement officers just come and commandeer your car for law enforcement work?
I think the gun that they point at my face is going to be more effective in my giving up the car than the badge they show me.
Fair enough.
It's more urgent.
Yeah.
I mean, if they just show me the badge, we're going to have a long discussion. But the gun's going to make me, table that discussion for a bit.
The priorities have shifted.
Would you have just let your livestock go to whichever random person came up to you and said, hey, the Lord needs these?
No.
Well, they didn't know the Lord yet, did they?
Well, see, so my interpretation of this, because Jesus knows there's going to be a donkey and a colt there, he also tells them that just tell them when you're taking it that I said you should get it.
He knows the
I
people.
feel like it's people Jesus has already seen before who are
Probably know
disciples
him.
of his who have a donkey and a colt in town.
Lord needs it. Yeah, okay.
I mean, that makes it less magic and it happened just as he had told them, but it makes more sense to me that he's like, yeah, there's a donkey and a colt up there that Jebediah has, and he said we can have it because we need to do our fancy entrance.
What if it's
Our big interest is coming.
What if it's both? I mean, what if he both knew Jebediah up there and he also arranged with Jebediah to have the animals there where his disciples are going to encounter them, and then he tells this in a way that he doesn't mention Jebediah, and it looks like a great big ass miracle. And they go, oh, wow.
That's the exactly non-magical way I was describing. That
Except he allows it to look like magic.
Wants it to be magical to put on a show, and that's the magic of politics.
It is.
That sometimes when you are a magician, in fact, a lot of the times you in fact have an affiliate in the audience, and you just don't ever own that.
Well, this is how you get the people to look and listen, You got to bring
It's all about messaging.
Yeah.
The stagecraft
Bring
of
the
Jesus.
drama,
I mean,
yeah.
yes, he can do real miracles, but sometimes it's just kind of fun to do a little bit of sleight of hand.
Well, and I mean, riding in on a donkey, hands down, was a point that was being made. I mean, that is theater, but that's calling it a protest march. Protest is a lot of theater. You do the real deal when he meets with Pilate in the back room, and And when the Sanhedrin overnight, that's when the actual politics of the moment is happening. This part is theater. This is letting the town see.
Don't get this particular group of people too started on theater, but you know, it I agree with you. It's a great point. It goes hand in hand.
I mean, the production values matter. Jesus is theatrical. I mean, 2 episodes back, we were talking about him healing the blind man, and the way he does it is kind of theatrical. I mean, presumably, Jesus could have just gone, "You're not blind anymore." But instead, he makes mud with his spit, and he smears it on the guy's eyes, and then has to clean his face in the pool of Siloam. And like, none of this needed to happen that way for him to be healed. But there is a kind of a theatricality about it that helps Jesus to make the healing into what he wants it to be for that moment. And I'm sorry that I hit you on the hat there.
You did hit me in the head.
I did.
I hold that against you.
I need to repent of that this Lent.
Protest and theater have always gone hand in hand.
Yeah.
So that's a great point.
I mean, presumably, we've got the crowd singing and chanting Hosanna, and blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. And yeah, I mean, that is, it really very much feels akin to something that we recognize 2,000 years later. Fewer signs made in Crayola marker.
Isn't it really impressive if they made them in Crayola marker back then?
Yeah.
That would be more magical than finding the cult. Like, these are going to be everywhere in 2,000 years.
The poor trees, though. I mean, all of the palm fronds cut down. It's like now we have. I'm sure that there are like groves of palm trees that are just specifically harvested for Palm Sunday for churches.
Do you use palms?
So we do. We have like the little individual fronds that always are so disappointing to me, and then the big ones that are full that really feel satisfying to wave around.
Yeah, we get palms also, but I just know because of that, because palms are not an ecologically friendly thing to harvest. There are a lot of churches that will use a branch from a locally sourced tree, so like a pine tree or something that you can wave.
Oh, you don't want to walk on that though.
It's you lay them down enough.
Yeah, flatten them.
Yeah, that's and then you got the garments, and donkeys have hooves.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Do you make the palm like origami?
Yeah, actually, some of my people are really kind of expert in taking the palm frond and folding it up into a little cross.
Yeah, that's what we
Nice.
always did.
Yeah. So I do 2 churches on Sunday, and the first one, they pre-fold a whole bunch of crosses out of palms and then hand them out, and the people pin them to their shirts and lapels, which is a neat tradition that they do, except a bunch of the liturgy that I brought with me as just my habits on Palm Sunday involve waving of your palms, and you've now got them all pinned to your shirts. And,
You got a shimmy.
and yep, and that shimmy is a little risque.
Hosanna.
No,
And
you're
it's not
feeling
even.
it.
It's not
Yeah.
even risque in a sexualized way. It's that some of these women are in their 90s. They're going to break something if they try and shake like that.
The difference between risky and risque.
Shake them palms and back that ass up.
And there's the name for this episode. One of the things that you might not know is that the palms on Palm Sunday in the church are traditionally then burned the next year and made into the ash for Ash Wednesday.
Oh,
That's interesting.
Economical.
In a lot of churches, there will be some place where the ashes are just hanging around, drying out for a year.
I mean, yeah, it is
fact, here, you guys
economical,
keep talking.
and a lot of things in church begin with that practical part.
Yeah.
That okay, we need ashes for this, and where
Yeah.
did we get it? But just like a lot of things that begin practically in church, I don't know if the origins of the palms into ashes, but it then creates a theological significance. And the fact that we use both is the continuing circle of the liturgy, the continuing circle of life.
Palms.
And we have palms
In a
now.
garbage bag.
And those we are well past Ash Wednesday,
Thank you,
Bob.
Palms. Back
You
your ass
you
up.
burned your palms this year as well as I burnt my palms this year, which is they don't look burnt.
Nope, those are from quite a few years back.
You've been missing years upon years of palm burning.
I know. And the thing is, I actually like making a fire and burning palms. It's kind of a fun sort of specialty to have. But nope, they make so much that I generally just reuse the stuff that I've had.
Could have a palm fight.
You
Look at
could.
this one.
Indiana Jones.
You just
But no, I
Unleash
like
something.
well, they fight with the palms. I'll talk with you.
yeah. I want to try and make
Right
one.
now, I have an old soup pot that I burn my palms in, and I have been requesting my wife, who is a ceramics potter, to make me like a large liturgical-looking fancy pot to burn the palms in, because I like my fancy church paraphernalia, and the cheap aluminum steel, the cheap aluminum soup pot that I burn them in just doesn't look in any way, shape, or form ecclesial. It's
Yeah, see, I just get all of my palm burning stuff from the dollar store. Like I've got a little flour sifter that I use to help get the ashes to be really nice and fine. And, I've got the aluminum pans, not like an actual pan, but like just the disposable aluminum trays that are really good for burning stuff in. And so I'm kind of unsophisticated that way.
I use the deep pot, and I want a ceramic thing that is tall and deep, because the first year that I went to burn palms, so my supervising pastor, which was before this supervising pastor, told me it was my job to burn the palms for Ash Wednesday, and I put them on a flat-ish tray with just like little sides, and you can't burn them inside. I went outside and I lit them, and the wind blew them all away.
The wind is your enemy.
So I have learned to put them in a deep pot that if the wind blows, they stay in the pot, and you don't sit there going, oh, I hope we have more palms. It's my job to burn them.
My first Ash Wednesday as a pastor, I didn't know that it was kind of my responsibility to burn the palms, and so I was kind of making this up as I went, and it was a rainy day out there, and so I did in fact think, well, maybe I can get away with doing this in the church kitchen in the basement. I need to contain the fire. And so what can we find that I can do that? Well, I came up with a salad bowl, a nice crystal salad bowl that I'm thinking if you put some aluminum foil in that, that'll protect it and it'll be just fine. And, I lit the fire in there, managed to create a whole bunch of palm smoke that filled the entire basement in a way that I was not anticipating. And also, the nice crystal salad bowl just cracked right into two big pieces. It turns out that part of the way those crystal bowls work is that they've got the nice, kind of etchings in them. So they expand in a way that causes them to crack where there is a fault. And so I can't remember if I owned up to that to the church ladies, or if I tried to hide the evidence.
there.
No more salad.
It was an act of God.
The mice are getting violent.
Boy, have you seen the size of them? We have rodents of unusual size in the church basement right now.
The RUS.
That's why all the smoke is there. I'm trying to
don't believe
chase
it
them
exists.
out. The only other good ash making story I've got is the first year that I was in Monongahela. I knew that I should have ash, and I just assumed that they would have a bag of palm fronds sitting and waiting. And so on Ash Wednesday, I was looking for where the palm fronds were, and there were none. And you can buy ashes at liturgical supply stores. That's something that if you know in advance, you can go and you can just buy a packet of nice palm ash. But there wasn't time for that. I needed to burn something in order to make ashes. So I'm like,
I feel like you should have to burn it yourself. I don't want store-bought ash.
Well, what I settled on, you can tell me if this is better or worse. I discovered that phone books make really nice ash.
I discovered that at a young age.
I like that we have burning phone books in common,
That's
Cassie.
perfect.
I used to go in my backyard and burn the phone book because it would all like go
The
like
Venn
that.
diagram where their hobbies intersect is burning phone books.
You know what? I would have
They
never
just
guessed
found it.
that we would have this much in common, but there's a lot there.
Did you also light the little mini Nerf basketballs with a magnifying glass? Because that's really satisfying.
No, but I'll have to look into that.
I mean, possibly toxic
doing it this
fumes. You know,
weekend.
if you still have your KN95 masks from COVID, you might want to have one of those when you're burning the. I mean, that might explain a lot about why I am how I am. That I did not have a mask back then.
we
but,
didn't need it.
You know, they kind of just sort of melt and
my day.
disintegrate away.
You just inhaled the fumes.
just smoked
CPTV's
the phone
lawyers
book.
would like you to know that we do not in any way condone or advocate the burning of Nerf balls or of any of these other things here, except for palm fronds in a controlled manner for liturgical purposes.
Unless you have a time machine and go back into my day
And if you
when it
do,
was safe.
and if you do, bring some Crayola markers back to Jesus and the disciples. They'll have a lot of fun with that.
We are getting to time. And usually we try and wrap up with something. I don't think Palm Sunday, I mean, I don't preach much of a message on Palm Sunday, partially because we read the entire Passion in a play form and it just takes up
Can you give us
all
a little
of the
bit of that?
time.
Can you give us a
What's
little
your
monologue?
favorite part?
Favorite part of the Passion?
No, like, is there a line that you're like
There.
that sticks in your head?
You're like, I'm really gonna like
You're
sell
like-
this when I say
or
it.
you're like, I love this part.
Nudge.
I'm gonna eat when I
Yeah.
say that.
So I tend
It's a banger.
to not read a lot myself because it's done in a play form and it's just better for the congregation if more people are involved, that they see the pastor lead all the time. I have created a liturgy that wraps the whole reading around the worship service. So when they celebrate the Last Supper, I have to read the parts that are the words of institution just because I'm presiding over communion at that part. And so there is a weird part in the reading of the play where I'm reading Jesus lines that and I wouldn't have to do that. I mean, my worship professor in seminary said whenever we had to do our worship thing, he's like, you're not presiding, I am. You're just reading the words. I could use that same kind of justification. But it just, for the people gathered, it looks better for them to see the ordained pastor presiding at the altar when that
But this
time
is what I'm
comes.
talking about. What's more impact, the rules or what's going to impact them? You know?
Which
was
ones?
last
Yeah,
episode.
which one's
It's
which in this case?
all-encompassing.
But it's the takeaway though. The takeaway. What I'm saying is, to me, it's I will usually stop and say, as we enter with Palm Sunday into Holy Week, this is the week not to listen to my interpretations of what's happening. We are going to read this entire story twice this week. We are going to hear the resurrection story. This is the time to just hear the story. I mean, we began with the power of narrative, and there's a real power to Jesus going into Jerusalem to this celebration, being betrayed, whether the crowds are the same or not. The fact that his experience goes from I could have been the triumphant one that took this over to the I am not going to be that person. It's the center of our faith. So I don't think we need much of a takeaway other than, as I will, I either did or will. I always get the Eric and Abby episodes and these release dates done, but I have in one episode, either in the future or the past, I have used this as a chance to say that if you're in any way, shape, or form curious about what happens in liturgical worship, find yourself a church this week that is celebrating the entire Passion liturgically on Palm Sunday and in Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, Vigil, and just go check it out. I'm not even using this as an evangelism tool to tell you that I believe you'll find something important. But if you're curious as to what we do, this is the week that we do it. So that's my push for if you haven't been in church for a while, Holy Week's the week to do it.
And, just picking up on something you said there about him being the one who triumphs, because he is in the end. He comes into the city looking like the one who's going to triumph, and then the cross happens, and that is the triumph. The cross and the grave and the stone rolled away. That is what triumph looks like. It's the word that I like is EUCATASTROPHE, EUCATASTROPHE. And it means a thing that is a good catastrophic event.
I like it as YOU catastrophe.
Because we need to get that eucatastrophe.com.
That feels like what all of those paintings that Rorschach made.
Or a you catastrophe.
EWE.
Eucatastrophe.
When somebody takes your livestock.
That's a good place to wrap up.
Hey, before we do, Cassie, you had in your hand one of those palm fronds there. Just do one of these here for the mic.
Oh, right. That sounds really nice. Hi, everyone. Happy Easter. Happy Palm Sunday.
Is that what we call a callback?
It is.
All right. Well, where are we going to find you guys in the future, and where do we find you on socials?
On socials, my name is Cassi Bruno. My username is Cassi_Dici. I don't know when this is going to come out. So.
Thank you. Yeah. This is March 23rd. So end of March going into April.
Okay. Go to Bantha on the 27th for a comedy showcase, or go to the Muppets Roast on the 27th at Mr. Small's, where I will be Gonzo. Or on the 28th, come to Antonio's Pizzeria in Brookline, where there will be a comedy showcase.
You're Gonzo.
I don't know why.
And I'm Lou Pastorius. You can find me on Instagram at notorious_Pastorius. And then April 17th, I'm going to be at Bubba's Burgers in Cannonsburg. Come check it out.
All right. And social? Oh, yeah. You said that. Duh. I just
Notorious Pastorius.
What was that again?
Notorious.
Pastorius. And now you've got an audio signature. And we are at CPTB POD. That's at CPTB Pod. And that was not the sound effect I was going for. How about this one instead? But it might have been on cue. Look, we're sorry that you're still listening. If we offended you, we're sorry for that too.
I'm not. You did it to yourself. I tell you this all the time.
But as long as you're here, help us out by sharing us, liking us, subscribing to us. Do all the things that people do with the podcast they love.
Do things that you haven't thought about doing with our podcast. We'll take it.
I'm a little worried about that, but we will be back and see you in a week with more funny and more God talk.
Until then, may the Holy Spirit do her thing in your life.